Amanda, for those who may not be familiar, can you start by telling a little about Mochi Kids and what inspired you to start the brand?
So Mochi Kids it started as a children's clothing brand almost 10 years ago, and we've evolved to include a brick and mortar store. I started my business super organically. I needed a creative outlet, and I wanted to create some tees for my son that matched his interests. He's always been interested in things like science and space, but I couldn't find the t-shirts with those designs and an aesthetic that I also liked. And so I used my design skills and started creating my own t-shirts. And I sold them to friends and family. Eventually, strangers on Instagram started asking for them, and I opened an Etsy shop, and then a regular website, and then a brick and mortar store. So, great.
How has design and creativity shaped the way that Mochi Kids connects with customers and builds its community?
I would say design is like central to what I do. We have a very distinct aesthetic, and a lot of people are attracted to like our minimalist, cute designs. And our community is very inclusive, and we try to reflect that in our designs that we do. So we will design based on themes that make people feel included and represented. We have a lot of Asian American themed designs, and then designs that are a little more like on the nose, promoting diversity and things like that.
Oh, that's great. So you're here at Adobe MAX. What does this event mean to you as a creative entrepreneur?
Yeah, this is my very first year at Max, and today's the first day, right? We're like halfway through the day, and I'm already just kind of blown away by all the things that I've learned here. I came to this conference with one goal in mind, which was how I can learn more about the AI tools that there are to increase the productivity in my business, because as a small business owner, I'm sure you are aware, we're just often like one woman shows, and we don't have full teams of copywriters and marketing professionals and production managers. It's all kind of me. I'm wearing all the hats. And so I've been learning a lot more about Adobe Acrobat this year, and I knew that coming here I'd be able to find more tools to use to increase my productivity, so that I like to just have one goal when I come in somewhere, something that feels attainable, and that was it for me, is trying to figure out how to increase my productivity as like a one-woman show.
So how do you use Adobe Acrobat in your day to day?
I use it a few different ways, and I'm sure there are other ways to use it too. That's one cool thing about coming here, is I get to see other people speak about how they're implementing it into their workflows. But for me, I love to use it as a place to keep all of my contracts. So our brand, we not only sell our own products, but we often will license our artworks to other companies who want to use our designs. And that involves like a contract and deliverables and timelines, and all of that is a lot to keep track of for one person, when that's just one of the many responsibilities that I have. So I love Adobe Acrobat PDF Spaces, which is the new feature that they have, because I can upload all of my contracts there. I can also upload my email transcripts there, and just any correspondence or anything I have regarding to the project. And then I can ask the AI assistant there, like, please create a timeline of deliverables for this project, and it will give that to me. So that's one way I use it, is like as a place to keep all of my contracts and to be able to communicate with those and get quick answers for what I'm looking for, as opposed to having to go back and scroll through my emails and be like, I know they said something about this here sometime. And then kind of like the next step that I use it for is like, let's say I now have a timeline of my deliverables. I can ask it to create like a content calendar around it. And because it's like a chat-based like AI assistant, I can really ask it whatever I want. It will even give you like content ideas. So sometimes it'll come up with like, okay, here's a content calendar. And then I'll say, can you write me like a script for the first one? And I'll go in like greater detail, get exactly what I want from it. So using it for content planning is great. And then another thing that I use it for is my production management. So I can go and say, like, my spring launch I know is going to be a certain day. And then I know how long the turnarounds are for each thing. Sorry, this is like so specific.
Go for it.
And I could just write exactly what I want. Like, please make a production calendar for a spring launch. Like, I know like production is 2 weeks and I have to order my materials like 3 weeks before that and just map out the whole year of like deadlines. Okay, I need to order my fabric for spring this day. I need to have items in hand by this day for my photo shoot this day. And, throughout the year. So it's a lot to manage as one person. Like, how would I be on top of that? And before, what I did is I had a paper calendar on my wall, and then I would once a year fill out the whole calendar. And then I get behind, then my whole paper calendar system is messed up, right? But this, I can very easily be like, okay, we got to move everything by 2 weeks, move all the spring launch dates, everything. So
it's kind of become sort of a secretary, like assistant overall.
That's like what the AI assistant is. I think is like you can ask it to do things like that, like administrative, like planning kind of things, and it does it for you. So, and I'm still, learning how to implement all of this into my workflow, but it's been changing my productivity and helping me to feel like more efficient and more organized.
Were there any kind of growing pains when it came to implementing this and learning how to use it, or was it fairly smooth?
So I would say I think Adobe puts a lot of time into like the user experience and trying to make these intuitive. So I feel like on that front, it was really good. For me personally, I'm not like a tech savvy person right off the bat, but I don't think it was much easier than I was expecting it to be.
Well, that's good to hear.
Yeah.
How does Adobe fit into the broader creative toolkit alongside, or Acrobat? How does Acrobat fit into the broader creative toolkits along with other Adobe apps like Illustrator or Photoshop? Do you use those as well?
Yeah, so I use Illustrator and Photoshop all the time, like on a daily basis. And when they asked me to be an Acrobat ambassador, I was like, oh, I guess I use Acrobat too, but I wasn't as familiar with the software and all of the capabilities. So, but I was a little surprised. I was like, oh, wouldn't like Illustrator be a better fit for me? But yeah, I use Adobe Illustrator, Adobe Express, Photoshop, and now Adobe Acrobat all the time. I would say, like, as a creative person, I had this reaction that I told you about that I was like, oh, you want me to be an Acrobat ambassador? Okay. But as a small business owner, it makes so much sense. I wasn't seeing it from like a productivity and like workflow standpoint. I was just kind of seeing it as like a design creative standpoint. But every like creative person that I know struggles with the keeping deadlines, planning, managing contracts, managing files. So they really do go hand in hand. Like as far as creatives also need this tool to administratively be able to keep on top of things.
Let's see. Couldn't. Do you use the features in Acrobat such as e-signatures, commenting, reviewing PDFs together with teams or customers or anything like that?
I definitely use e-signature all the time. Before I started using that, I would like paint my signature on using Photoshop, but now it's like much more legit and I can send it securely and I can ask for someone's signature in a way more like official manner than just like, okay, here's a JPEG, like sign it and send me a photo back. But this way, it has an electronic signature and the document can't be altered after it's been signed. So yeah, I've been loving that tool. I don't use as much like team collaboration because like I mentioned, it's mostly me doing all of the work, but hopefully someday I will get to that point.
I've ran into that too. I used to have a salesperson who would send an Excel file, not a PDF or anything like that, and a raw Excel file. And one time it came back differently. So yeah, and someone had modified the contract in their favor, and yeah, so I get it. I love the age of these digital signatures, and glad that Adobe has that as well.
And one nice thing about PDF Spaces is you could upload both of those contracts and you could say, please find me any differences between these contracts in case someone does, like through the revision process, sneak a change in.
Yes, that would be nice. Many creative entrepreneurs struggle to balance artistry and business paperwork. How has Acrobat helped you bridge that gap?
For sure, that is definitely a struggle. I love like the PDF spaces, like I mentioned, to keep all of my contracts organized. And I also think the Creative Cloud is a great tool. So I can access, designs that I've been working on my desktop on my phone if I need to. And yeah, I almost prefer that to my Google Drive, which is what I've been using before because it's like it's just easier to find things. I feel like the searchability is better and I can see like the image preview of whatever I'm working on, because sometimes in Google Drive it's just like, a file looks like a file folder, and like sometimes it'll show the image preview, but not all the time. So then I have to like click on the photo image till I get to the one that I'm looking for. So
do you find that Acrobat makes administrative tasks like invoicing, legal forms, or proposals feel a bit more manageable, even creative?
yes. So I do have Acrobat on my phone, and I love that I can edit PDFs from my phone. I didn't know I could do that until this year. So what I was doing before is like, sometimes I'd even like take a JPEG and then I would like Photoshop like a box over it to clear out whatever was there, and then a new text box, which was like it's such a clunky way to do it. But yeah, I do love, like on my phone, I'll edit PDFs and send invoices that way. Or I have to send purchase orders as well, like when I buy fabric or whatever we're making. And I love doing that on my phone. A lot of old school people will like require you to have a purchase order from your brand with your header, with all of your company info before they'll sell you something. So
Yeah. Well, it helps make those official orders a little bit easier, right?
yeah. I just have it in my Creative Cloud, and I can just edit it real quick. It's what I want it to say.
Nice. What advice would you give other small business owners about bringing the same creativity they put into design into their business documents?
Okay, like ask me that again.
Okay.
Please. Sorry.
What advice would you give other small business owners about bringing the same creativity they put into their designs into their business documents?
I feel like a lot of creative small business owners that I know, we have, like I said, this similar struggle of like staying organized and being on top of the administrative things. And a lot of the times these things are like, for me, it's like a weight on my shoulders a little bit. And it's like a thing on the back of my mind that is like a nagging that I need to like do or fix. And I feel like just starting a new system of like keeping things organized, and it's like really freeing and can help you in your creative practice to feel like you have more like mental space for that and you're not as like concerned as much. Yeah, I would say that's definitely been true in my life. Like the tasks that I don't like to do as a creative are now feel like a little more attainable.
It's easier to be creative when you've cleaned your room first, right?
Yeah.
a little more organized. You don't have that hanging in the back of your head going, oh my gosh, that sock over there. It's bugging me.
Yeah, I am someone who has to clean like my entire house before I can get any work done. So I can relate.
I'm the exact opposite. I'm more of I'll do the administrative, I'll do the paperwork. Creativity is not necessarily my forefront. So
Oh, yeah.
I can make processes, I can do paperwork. My wife though, she'll handle the creative part.
It's funny. Everyone has like their strengths and struggles. And yeah.
All right. What are some of your takeaways from what you've seen so far from Adobe Max this year? Have you gotten into like the Adobe Max or the Acrobat demonstration? Is there anything there that you've seen that has piqued your interest?
I will say I did not know anything about Firefly until today. And as someone who has a clothing brand, I think it'll be super helpful for me to like mock up my designs with Firefly because I use Photoshop, to often like move my design from Illustrator onto like a piece of clothing. And I'll do it manually, photoshopping it over. And with Firefly, I can just like, I drop that, and then it puts it together for me. So it's going to be way easier to make mock-ups and do any kind of photoshopping. So that was a big takeaway for me. Yeah, I think I'm going to save a lot of time photoshopping things. And then I used Premiere like maybe a couple times, but I'm not like super versed in it. And the Premiere app looks like it's going to be awesome too. Did you go to the keynote this morning?
I did.
Yeah. So there's just so many things. I'm like, I was impressed. Is that how it is every year? There's just like, oh man.
So, peek behind the curtain, being in PR, we work on these announcements, obviously in collaboration with our product teams and engineers for months. So like just kind of the keynote is very celebratory for us PR people because like we brought it to life with the product engineers and with the product marketers. We put their innovations to words and announce it to the world. So yeah, it's like that every year. We have like a lot of announcements and it's just the labor of love over the course of a lot of time.
Is it hard to sit on these awesome new features?
Not for me because I get to play with it internally before you guys. But like I have friends who are also entrepreneurs and small business owners and creatives, and they tell me about the stuff they're working on. I'm like, wow, I would tell you about this, or I wish I could get you on the limited beta for this. But that's kind of the fun part of it too.
All right. How do you see tools like Acrobat evolving to support creative small businesses in the next few years? I mean, what would you like to see?
I feel like Adobe Acrobat is on the right track as far as, like I mentioned, making it easier for us creative people to stay organized and the AI assistant. I've been telling so many of my friends about the PDF spaces. Yeah, I have a friend who runs a nonprofit in Uganda, and she has like a case file on every child in her school that she runs over there. And it's like a paper case file. And so I'm like, you got to get, on this so that when you are emailed stuff about this kid, you can just file it in there. So I would say just more tools for like productivity, behind the scenes kind of contracts. I think that's what Acrobat is kind of known for is doing like a paper trail, but electronically. So all that kind of like file management. I mean, if I knew the answer to this, I could probably be rich because I would come up with an incredible software. But yeah, I would love to see just more tools to help with that.
All right. Final question. What's next for Mochi Kids, and how does technology, especially tools like Acrobat, play in your future plans?
That's a good question because I always said that opening a store is like my old lady job. So when I get like burnt out of doing my clothing brand, I can be like a shopkeeper and work in my store. And that it still sounds very appealing to kind of, retire, but like still own a business and work. Um, but I think I want to get back into doing more apparel. Um, it's been like we've been kind of going up and down with creating our own custom styles versus buying like blank sweatshirts and t-shirts that are already made. And yeah, we are developing some new clothing styles right now. We just developed a new t-shirt pattern that's really cute. And we have sweatshirts that are being made right now in LA. And then we have pajamas on order. And then we have like a cute woven like unisex kid pant that hopefully next year will come out. So just getting more into doing more clothing styles. I think a lot of my competitors have gone out of business, which is very sad in the last few years or stopped making clothing because it's a challenge. And a lot of the manufacturing in the US in apparel has gone overseas. And now overseas manufacturers, like with the tariffs, it's so much more money to create things. So I've seen a lot of my fellow clothing brand people close, other fellow clothing brands. So I do see like a gap in the market for made in the US clothing for children.
Well, here's hoping, you can get into that market and continue to grow.
Thank you.
Well, that's all the questions I had for you.
Awesome. Thank